Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everyone. You're listening to Heart with Saima. I come to you on Radio Caravan 104.1 FM, 700 AM every Thursday from 1 to 2. और मैं आपके पास यहाँ पर लेके आती हूँ कुछ अपनी रियल एस्टेट की बातें और कुछ chit chat from here and there, and then talking about different things which I feel are important to me, and which are जो चीज़ें basically मैं जब भी यहाँ पर आती हूँ तो मैं अपनी ज़िंदगी के बारे में ही डिस्कस करती हूँ, जो चीज़ें मेरी ज़िंदगी में चल रही हैं. और so we are going to, we start off with real estate. And you know what? The interest rates, you know, as widely predicted, the Federal Reserve issued its 10th consecutive rate hike, this time enacting a 0.25% increase. Rates are now in the 5 to 5.25% range, marking the first time since September 2007 that the rates are above 5%. So rates have increased, and I do feel that no matter what happens, the every real estate market, everything keeps going on. So especially, so हर चीज में pros and cons होते हैं, and I feel that even in this world of real estate there are pros and cons to everything. तो अगर आप commercial real estate को देखें, so yes, commercial real estate is also impacted because the money that you borrow, us, that uski, the borrowing has become आपकी payments ज़्यादा होंगी because interest rates are higher, right? So commercial real estate gets impacted from that perspective. अब आपकी payments ज़्यादा हैं. Residential real estate gets impacted from the same perspective as well. कि आप जो भी चीज़ इस वक्त you're going to go and you're wanting to go and purchase and borrow, of course, now you're paying a lot more because the interest rate is high. So a lot of people are out there, and a lot of people start thinking, should I wait or should I buy? What should we do? So here's what the thing is: जो खरीदने वाले हैं, they, especially investors, the investor game keeps going on. So I was talking to this friend of mine who's interested in purchasing land, and मैंने उसको जब कल रात को I sent her, she's wanting a certain specific kind of land, and when I sent her the information on land, she was like, oh my god, I mean, the prices have really gone up. Just 6 months before, when we were looking for her, and beach mein we kind of were waiting and watching with everything that's going on with the interest rate hike. Interest rates, not only the interest rates have gone up, but the prices of what is available out there, the prices are even going up. Now this is when it comes to land. Har cheese is bottom line is everything comes down to demand and supply. It's basic economics. Wherever there is demand for something, the price is going to keep going up irrespective of what is going on. So, now the central bank's policy making Federal Open Market Committee called Economic Activity expanding at a modest pace during the first quarter, with robust job gains and low employment but elevated inflation. So jobs increase ho rahe hain, but inflation is also there. Are we in a recession? I'm not really sure, because technically अभी तक वो word is use नहीं हुआ है कि officially we are in recession, but we are seeing that inflation has really gone up and it's impacting people. Now, when it comes to clients, when it comes to home buyers, what is happening is the buyers are kind of sitting there and waiting, thinking that they are going to wait. But then the sellers are also waiting. The sellers are waiting because, so there's not a whole lot of inventory in the market, and the sellers are waiting because sellers are thinking कि अगर वो इस घर को बेच के जिस दूसरे घर में जाना चाह रहे थे वो घर भी उतना ही महंगा मिलेगा. So why not stay where we are and enjoy the appreciation in the current housing and wait it out and see what happens. So there's a lot of waiting happening in the market where a lot of people are just kind of sitting and waiting and watching. But except the investors. For the investors, एक वो टाइम आता है मार्केट के अंदर when investors will go out and investors will keep buying. This is that window of opportunity where investors are buying because investors understand one thing: okay, no matter what happens, investors will keep buying because real estate is a long-term investment game, and from a long-term perspective, um, real estate always balances out and always gives you the returns that you're looking for. So, having said that, I do want to, if I do have people who are developers, if you are investors, if you are big investors, and if you are listening to the show, do reach out to me. My email is VIP, like Victor India Papa, at saimadillon.com. So, VIP at saimadillon.com. Do reach out to me, 972-244-3106. Text me. Let's set up a time and talk. I have this opportunity. I am working on this off-market project with a group of people. It is an opportunity which is on the border of Roy City and Caddo Mills. It is a project where the corps of engineers are going to be involved. It is something which is going to be it's going to be a comparable project to San Antonio Riverwalk, and the land is there. It's going to be on approximately 80 acres of land. It's a mixed use community development, not community, but development. There's going to be 18 multifamily buildings. There's going to be it is going to be on the river. Most of this 80 acres is on flood zone. It We will be working with FEMA. We'll be working with the cities to get and corp of engineers, and we will be working in getting most of this 85%, that is where the site is going to come up, a project similar to San Antonio. Agar aapka interest है, this is something that might be of interest to you. It is not for the masses. It is something which is for people who have a vision and people obviously who have the money to be able to invest in a project like of this magnitude. So do reach out to me if this is something that might be of interest to you. We are working with the city. We are working with multiple different people to put the pieces of the puzzle together. तो अगर आपका interest है to do reach out to me. Coming back to real estate, record breaking first time home buyers. Most of the home buyers are in their 20s right now, who are buying their first home. And I think they are doing this because it's a great time to buy. मैं हमेशा ये चीज़ बोलती हूँ कि help your kids become real estate investors. You want to help your child when your child is in starting college and they are living on campus, and you're paying rent to live on campus. Instead of paying someone else, help your child buy a 3 bedroom 2 bathroom property in the vicinity of the university, and then rent out the additional 2 rooms. इसमें ये होगा कि it will help your child become a real estate investor. It will teach your child responsibility. Um, कॉलेज एजुकेशन अपनी जगह है, बट वो एजुकेशन जिससे आपको हैंड्स ऑन आप करें और यू लर्न hands on, there is nothing like that experience. When you teach your kids to become real estate investors early on, you help them get that first property, you help them with the down payment, you help them buy that property, you help them bring in tenants जो जो यूनिवर्सिटी में पढ़ रहे हैं, share the rooms. There are so many different things that your child is going to learn from that process. It's going to teach them responsibility, it's going to teach them investment, it's going to teach them money management. जब वो उस process को करेंगे, when they do that, it teaches your child to you know to be able to take care of the mortgage payments from the rent that comes in, and with time the property keeps paying itself off. Why they say that landlords become rich in their sleep, it is simply for that reason, that you are, simply for that reason. Because no matter what you're doing, if you have a property that is rented out, you do make money. Properties pay itself off. If it's a $300,000 property that you buy and you put down 25% of that, around $80,000 आप put down उसके अंदर करते हैं, तो at that point that property starts paying itself off. And even if you think कि 15 years के अंदर, by the time you're in your 30s, that property is paid off, the rental income which starts coming in, it becomes passive income for your child to be able to start getting money from different sources without having to work non-stop themselves. So I think it is like the best thing you can do for your children is to help them become real estate investors. Right now, there are multiple places. There are some pockets in Fort Worth. There are some pockets in Sherman, Greenville. There are these different pockets, Jidar. There are properties, new builder, which are available around the $300,000 range. And one of the advantage of going for a new build is, um, at least for the first few years, आपको कुछ करना नहीं पड़ता. You won't need to get a property manager. You won't need to go in and spend a lot of money in rehabbing or fixing. Versus when you buy properties which are over 7, 8, 10 years older properties, जब आप वो properties लेते हैं, तो at that point when you're buying an older property, um, again, pros and cons, right? Because when I work with investors, different investors have a different game plan. So let's see, we have a caller. um, Radio Caravan, you're on air. Radio Caravan, you're on air. Okay, so I guess maybe they can't hear, but so I'm sorry, but I can't hear you. And if you want to call back after when we go on a break at 1:30, but that's what real estate investment does. It gives you an opportunity to build your portfolio, to build a portfolio so that you reach a point in your life where by the time you're in your 30s, especially if you start at the age of, when you're in your 20s, when you start at that point, when you start early on, it helps you become, um, you know, generate passive income by the time you're in your mid 30s. And it makes a huge, huge difference. So, with that, let me go ahead and play a song for you. And Radio Caravan, you're on air. So, okay, that is not working. So, let me go ahead and play a song. And I hope you enjoy this. Here goes. Radio Caravan. Now I can because you're not on air, but when I'm taking you on air, then I can't hear you. This is that's me. I'm the one. I'm having my show right now. Saima 972 244 3106. Yeah, hold on. Let me check my number. Yeah, 972 244 3106. Saima, 2 o'clock. Sounds good, Nishi. I'll talk to you in a bit. Bye bye. रेडियो कैरामैन इट्स साइमा. अच्छा मैं अभी आपके लिए थोड़ी सी देर में लगाती हूँ. You're welcome. Thank you. Alright, so जब कॉल्स आने लगती हैं या यूजली मैं कॉल्स लेती नहीं हूँ, बट जब कॉल्स आ रही होती हैं तो उसमें ज़रा डिस्ट्रैक्शन आ जाती है. सो बट लेट्स सी. Where is my You're listening to Radio Caravan. This is Saima Dillon, your host. 972 244 3106. 972 244 3106. If you need to reach out to me, that's my number. You can email me at vip@saimadillon.com, SAIMADHILLON.com. You're able to email me at vip@saimadillon.com, and my website is www.saimadillon.com. All right, so that was us talking about what's happening in the world of real estate, and thank you for joining. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect. I usually just do the real estate part on Instagram, so I'm going to go ahead and disconnect from Instagram. If you still want to continue watching me at 1:35, we begin Heart to Heart, and we're going to just talk about everyone needs validation and why validation is so important for children. So, thank you for being a part of my show. You've been listening to, Heart to Heart with Saima. I come to you on every Thursday from 1 to 2, talking about Dallas real estate and what is going on in the world of real estate. There are multiple opportunities in different areas, especially in Fort Worth, and where there are homes in the 300,000 price range, and in the low 300s in Princeton, where you're able to invest as an investor, bring in a tenant, and grow your investment properties to be able to generate passive income. 972 do reach out to me, send me a message. Let's connect, let's talk, let's build your real estate wealth. Enjoy this, it's a request. All right, uh, so um, so let's see. We have around 2.5 minutes before we go on before we go on our break, and uske baad the break will be around 3 minutes. So, what is happening with your life and in your world? Um, मेरी जिंदगी में आई थिंक हर किसी की तरह डिफरेंट चीज़ें चल रही होती हैं, एंड we have actually a house guest in our home these days, and it's a young girl, 19-year-old, um, who just needed some space. So she needed a place to go and stay. So we let her come to our house and stay with us. Um, Life is not easy. I think zindagi mein the most difficult thing in life is being a parent. Parenting is extremely difficult because as parents, what we tend to bring to the table is we tend to bring our own experiences, our own upbringing, our own journey. And उस journey के अंदर जो भी चीज़ें आई होती हैं, that's what we tend to bring to the table, um, you know, in our parenting style. Um, and sometimes what we carry forward all the toxicities, all our own personal trauma and experiences to the table, which does make it very hard at times. It means that we don't realize it, but we actually need to work on ourselves and our own trauma that we are carrying, uh, change ourselves so that we can become better parents. It doesn't mean that you don't love your child. You love your child, but you just need to um, regroup yourself. You need to uh, build on yourself as a parent. So, so that is from Bombay. I will see you after the break. So, um, so anyways, like I was saying, being a parent, um, I think it's a um, automatically, it's expected for people to, to have kids, and sometimes that's hard. Nobody tells you what a difficult job it is, and being a parent, the responsibilities that that being a parent comes with. So, in around 3.5 minutes, we are going to go back to our. We're going to go live again, and we're going to talk about validation and why our kids need validation. So, let's see. Hey, Shabina, how are you? Thank you for joining. And let's see, Raja Hamid Mahmood. Thank you for being here. Lal Dino Baloch, thank you for joining. Zahid Sahid, Sajania, thank you all for being here. And कैसे हैं आप लोग and how is everyone doing? आप लोगों की लाइफ में क्या चल रहा है? Do share. I do love it when you guys send me messages and you share about what's going on in your life. And you know, I think हर किसी की जिंदगी में उतार चढ़ाव हर वक्त चल ही रहे होते हैं, and I think that's just what life is. Uh, so it's life. Um, 2 o'clock पे खत्म होगा. Yeah, I can. Yes. Yeah. I'll get you the access. Then हम लोग वो get, I know you have a better face, but you can start and then I'll ask like her and 3 minutes ago. ऐसे ही करके कर सकते हैं हम लोग भी लगा right क्यों नहीं करते हैं? I think we because I've been doing it so I've been doing it for years. ये करना है ना everything is first time. अच्छा मैं तेरे लिए एटलीस्ट लिखेंगे कि and Instagram also like Instagram. I am on Instagram. So you have to add me as an admin. In for Radio Karma as well as for G, right? Facebook, Instagram, wherever you want me to go. I have to be an admin so I can add it to my settings and automatically go live. Okay. तो वहाँ खड़े रहना, can I take a picture of you with them and give them an inspiration? I don't know कितना work करेगा. Okay. So, hey Dan, how are you? Good to see you on here. So, while we are waiting, let's see how much time do we have. 51 seconds. So, um, Dan, thank you for being here. Dan, I always think of you when I see the paintings in my house, and I see when you created that mural for my daughter who just turned 22, and you created that mural for her just before she was turning 1. So I always think about you, and I hope you're doing well. So we are about to go into our show again, and we have 13 seconds, and we will go and talk about life. And I love to talk about life. The philosopher in me comes out, and I share my journey. Welcome back. You're listening to Saima Dillon on Heart to Heart with Saima. I come to you every Thursday from 1 to 2, and when I come here, I just talk about my life and things, my journey, things that I am passionate about, and things. जो चीज़ें मेरी ज़िंदगी में चल रही हैं, and in the process I hope कि the things that I talk about, the things that I share, that they will touch someone's life somewhere. And you know uh, as I'm working on changing the dynamics of my life, उसी सफ़र में शायद I'm able to touch someone else's life at the same time. So, today I thought, earlier, of course, I start with real estate. And after talking about real estate, which, if you do need any information, advice, consultation, if you're looking at commercial or residential realtor, please do reach out to me, 972 From there, I transition into talking about validation, talking about why it is so important for our children to feel validated. To I think being a child is not easy. Um, just that being a child is not easy. Being a parent is not easy either. And once having said that, I think as individual beings, every individual needs validation. I think children need validation. Children are हम लोग जब बड़े हो रहे होते हैं, when we are growing up, when we are born, even in the form of cells, we are absorbing everything which is in our environment, even while we are in the womb. They say trauma carries through generations. So trauma carries through generations means that it is being carried through generations genetically in the genes. Now, I believe genes can be remodified because genes are these amazing um, thing in our body. जब genetically, जब when जब you're in the embryo and you're conceived, उस पॉइंट के ऊपर द जीन्स डोंट लाइक अलग अलग जीन्स नहीं आती कि ओके दीज आर द जीन्स सेंडिंग बीइंग सेंट फॉर द आईज, दीज आर द जीन्स बीइंग सेंट फॉर द आर्म्स. सो जीन्स का कोई ब्रेक डाउन नहीं है, जीन्स आती हैं, बट द जीन्स आर सो magnificently clever that they know exactly what needs to be done genetically to create a human being, and how किस तरह से the seed is laid and किस तरह से the child is formed and the child comes into this world, right? तो genetic, तो जब आप इस दुनिया में आते हैं, even from genetical perspective, you're taking everything in from your surrounding. You are taking everything. You come into this world, your parents are teaching you कि ये तुम्हारा religion है, इस religion में ये चीजें करनी है, ये तुम्हारा culture है, culture के हिसाब से these are the things you need to do. So basically you are like an onion. आपका खुद का जो एक वजूद है, your own spirit, your own being, your own sense of being is within, and you have all these layers and which upon you like an onion, from other people's, from everyone's expectations around you, from the religion, from the culture, from your relatives, from your friends. सब चीज़ें आपके इर्द गिर्द, आपके एनवायरनमेंट के अंदर जो चीज़ें चल रही होती हैं, it is said that around 60,000 thoughts go through the human brain on a daily basis. 60,000 thoughts. और ये 60,000 thoughts के अंदर around 90% of the thoughts which go through the human brain are the same thoughts that you think repetitively on a daily basis, which means your thoughts create your destiny. Everything that you're thinking, they those thoughts are being manifested and those thoughts are being cultivated, so you're a byproduct. When you are growing up and you start reaching that point where your true self wants to emerge, and you are you have been a byproduct of your environment, your family, your parents, their parenting skills, your siblings, but there's something within you that is fighting to come out, that wants to be freed so that you can be heard. Being heard is about validation, especially with children. तो मैं ये चीज़ I always come here, talk about my life, talk about my kids, talk about my mistakes in life, talk about my experiences. Again, I do use that word mistakes in a very different context or with a different connotation, because मेरे लिए वो जो word mistakes है, it's not really anything bad. Basically, they are just different experiences of life, which some experiences might not give you a good result. It might not give you the results that you want. It might be an injurious result. But as a human, you do experiment. You want to try and explore different things and attain different experiences in life, because jab aapko, when you are not allowed to be yourself, when you're not allowed to connect with your authenticity, when you are not allowed to connect with your spirit and what your spirit is wanting you to do, then your soul is at unease. Your soul does not feel peaceful. और जब ये आप करते जाते हो, तो then that's where all these autoimmune diseases or all the diseases of the universe, they say that they are in your head. They are in your head. And वो चीजें जब आपकी स्ट्रेस जिन चीजों को ट्रिगर करता है, तो वो चीजें आपकी बॉडी के अंदर आके सरफेस होना शुरू करती हैं. आपकी आपकी केमिकल आपकी बॉडी के केमिकल्स चेंज होना शुरू हो जाते हैं. सो स्ट्रेस इज अ किलर, and it is a killer for a reason. It's a killer because stress हर negative चीज को आपकी body के अंदर trigger करता है. Lupus, um, um, multiple sclerosis, ये जितनी चीजें हैं, arthritis, diabetes, ये सब चीजें are triggered by stress. So जब आप अपने बच्चों के ऊपर अपनी सोच, अपनी expectations. And let me put a disclaimer here. This is all that I myself have done in my life. I was a helicopter mom. I was, had all these expectations. I was preparing my kids to be a certain way, go to Ivy Leagues, to do certain things in life. But then everything fell apart. सब कुछ बिखर गया. And there was disruption, there was chaos. And I came to the realization in my life that my kids are not expected to be a byproduct of my unfulfilled dreams or my expectations. My kids, although I have brought them into this world, but they have their own individuality, they have their own authenticity, they have their own spirit, which is meant to take them in a certain direction. Because जब भी हम उस रास्ते के ऊपर जा रहे होते हैं जो हमारे, which is not true to our spirit, which is not true to our soul, and when our soul is disrupted and not at peace, that's when we start stressing. It causes unhappiness. That's when we start looking at this person and we don't like that person, because the more we are away from our authenticity, the more our soul is not at peace. Validation. Your children are not your children. They are the children of the universe. And that is the poem by Khalil Gibran, where, that you have brought your children into this world, but your children have their own individuality, and you have brought them into this world, but they have their own purpose in this life, and they are in this world for a certain reason. So that poem by Khalil Gibran is, your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backwards, not tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children, as living arrows, are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might that his arrow may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for happiness, for even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves the bow that is stable. That is Khalil Gibran. If you want to look that up, I just hold that to my heart. It is called Your Children by Khalil Gibran. So that is something, it's a poem I hold to my heart. It's a poem that I used for myself to start changing. So I could be a mother, not based on my expectation of I should be as a mother, not projecting my own dreams, my own expectations, my own wishes on my children, but to become a mother that my children need and my children want. For people who are working like 60 to 80, 90 hours a week, and then they say that, oh, I'm working day and night. I work day and night for my children, so I can provide all the luxuries of the world to my children. I want to tell you that when you are doing that, you are doing it for yourself. You are not doing it for your children, because what your children want from you is unconditional love. As a parent, you love your children, but how many parents are able to give unconditional love to your child? So that's the game changer. The game changer is the ability to be able to love your child unconditionally. You are there to provide a framework to your child. You are there to hold your child's hand and tell them that this is right, this is wrong. But at the end of the day, your child is going to make their own decisions. If you feel that, oh, you put your hand in the fire and you got burnt, you're going to try, you'll tell your child, hey, that's fire. Don't put your hand in the fire. But you cannot stop your child if that is how they choose to experiment in their life. Radio Caravan, you're on air. So it is very, very hard, I think, to raise children. And if someone is calling and they need to be on air, I do apologize, but I do apologize because I just, it's not coming on air. So I do apologize for that. Um, uh, your kids, they need, in fact, I think every individual being needs validation in life. You need to feel validated. Validation means your child. So मैं किसी और की बात नहीं करती, मैं अपनी ही बात करती हूँ. तो मैं अपनी बात करने के अंदर मैं ये कह सकती हूँ कि इतनी मैं दफ़ा ये होता है कि आई एम टॉकिंग टू माई किड्स एंड बाय नेचर आई एम अ प्रॉब्लम सॉल्वर कि ओके ये चीज़ हो रही है मेरे बच्चों की लाइफ में, तो मैं किस तरह से इनकी प्रॉब्लम को दूर कर सकूँ, मैं किस तरह से सॉल्व कर सकूँ. But the thing is, your kids, you do need to let them make mistakes. You do need to let them make their own choices. You do need to give them the space to learn from their own choices, because they are not going to learn from your choices, no matter how bad you need for them to learn from your choices. You have to let your child know that you understand Whatever it is your child is feeling, that it is valid. It's valid for them to feel the way they are feeling. Even if you don't understand, even if it doesn't make, but as parents, बहुत दफा हम अपने बच्चों को बोल रहे होते हैं जब when they're complaining and you're sitting there and you're telling your kids, hey, you know what, get over it. हर वक्त रोते रहते हो, हर वक्त ये करते रहते हो. Do you understand if your child is crying all the time, there must be a reason your child is crying all the time. How about trying to figure out what it is that is upsetting your child? If you're automatically, right, people love the children who don't cry too much, who don't fuss too much, who get the best grades, right? Automatically we gravitate towards the child जो चुप करके बैठा रहता है कमरे के अंदर, जो किसी को तंग नहीं करता, right? Who doesn't give anyone a hard time. तो हम उसी की तरफ gravitate करते हैं. But we can't. हम जो बच्चा बहुत रोता है, शोर करता है, तंग कर रहा होता है, हम उस बच्चे की नीड्स को समझने की कोशिश नहीं करते, क्योंकि if our child is one of those children and the child is disruptive और वो ज्यादा तंग कर रहा होता है, तो उसके पीछे शायद कोई वजह है. एंड वो वजह क्या है, राइट? हम चाहते हैं कि हम उसे चपेड़ लगा दें, चमाट मार दें. We shut the child up because we don't want the child to be in that disruptive pattern. But have we ever thought कि शायद हमारी लाइफ में वो disruptions चल रही हैं, या शायद हमारे घर के environment में वो चीजें चल रही हैं जो that child is reacting to whatever the child is absorbing, and that something the child wants to be heard, the child wants to be validated. When your children are talking to you, if you don't sit there and try to understand what is bothering your child is going to leave you and get away from you at the first opportunity. So you might love your child. You might think, oh, as a parent, you know what is best for your child, but that is not true. You think you know what is best, but that might not, what you think is best for your child might not actually be the best for your child. You think it might be okay कि आप चपेड़ लगा लो, तो you are an abusive parent, और आप पकड़ के पिटाई कर दो, but that is not, that causes trauma. Emotional blockages होते हैं आपके अंदर जब आपके साथ trauma होता है, जब आपके साथ वो behavior, वो सलूक होता है which you do not, the environment, your parents might think, oh, ये बदतमीज बच्चा है, इसको ये सिर्फ मार से ही समझता है. But that is not the truth. Or I have made multiple mistakes in my life, but I will tell you something. जिस point के ऊपर I started to make an effort, जिस point के ऊपर I figured out that I cannot force my child to change, or force my child to become a version that is in my head of the perfect child. And instead, I need to work on myself, to change myself. जिस point के ऊपर मैंने जिंदगी में खुद को बदलना शुरू किया, उस point के ऊपर automatically मैंने ये देखा कि my children started to change themselves. Your children are a product of their environment. जो वो अपने माहौल में देखेंगे, अगर वो अपने माँ बाप के बीच में प्यार देखेंगे तो वो उसी चीज को अडॉप्ट करेंगे. अगर वो अपने माहौल में अपने माँ बाप के बीच में फिजिकल अफेक्शन देखेंगे, इमोशनल अफेक्शन देखेंगे, if they see words of love, that is what they're going to adopt. If they see abuse, if they see if they see the father not coming home on time, if they see the father is, or the if parents are not there, if the parents think कि बच्चों को चीजें नजर नहीं आ रही हैं, but the kids see everything. If your kids are acting out, if your kids are doing things that you feel is disruptive, look at yourself. खुद को देखो as parents and fix yourself. बजाय इसके कि एक्सपेक्ट करना कि आपका बच्चा आपकी एक्सपेक्टेशंस के ऊपर और जो सांचा आपके दिमाग में परफेक्शन का बना हुआ है उस सांचे के ऊपर आपका बच्चा उतरे, उस सांचे के ऊपर खुद को उतारो. Your kids are not coming into this world to fulfill your unfulfilled dreams, to fulfill your expectations. That is not the reason children come into this world. आप अपने बच्चों को इस दुनिया में इसलिए नहीं लेके आते कि वो आपके अधूरे ख्वाब पूरे कर सकें. जब आप अपने अधूरी चीज़ों का और अपनी ख्वाहिशात का बोझ अपने बच्चों के ऊपर, अपनी एक्सपेक्टेशंस लाते हैं, एक पॉइंट आता है कि the child revolts and the child and जब the child sees that you have such high expectations and you're always expecting the child to be at their best, you can't always be at your best. But then again, who gets to define what is best? Like aapka version of what is best or mera version of what is best? Ya XYZ ka version of what is best. What is that best version? That best version does not exist. वो जो आपको बच्चे नजर आ रहे होते हैं कि ओ ये तो अमेजिंग बच्चे हैं, बेस्ट स्कूल्स में जा रहे हैं, परफेक्ट ग्रेड्स लेके आ रहे हैं. Perfection does not exist. अंदर तोड़ फोड़ चल रही होती है, चीजें जो के सामने विजिबल नहीं होती वो कहीं और तरीके से मैनिफेस्ट हो रही होती हैं. You are only meant to be a guide for your children. And then you let your children become whoever it is that they are meant to become in this world. आपकी high expectations from your children, जब आप हर वक्त बच्चे को बोलते रहते हैं चुप चुप फर्मा बरदार बच्चा, हर वक्त डिसिप्लिन्ड बच्चा, हर वक्त एक आवाज दे दी अब चुप करके बैठ जाओ यहाँ पर और एक आवाज नहीं निकले. When you constantly do that to your child ends up becoming this person who loses their voice and cannot stand up for themselves because you have suppressed that child into becoming this person who could not voice their opinion because you were not ready to listen to what they had to say. It matters. Give your child space to be whoever it is they are meant to be. Provide them with guidance, provide them with a framework, teach them right from wrong. And again, that right from wrong version is yours. The kids right and wrong, mere dimag mein jo right and wrong ka version hai, that was not the version of my parents. And now that is not the version of my kids. Right and wrong is defined differently. And yes, it is subjective because different people from different religions or cultures will define the same thing with a different perspective because it is perspective based and you do project yourself and your experiences onto other people. Last 10 seconds, you're listening to Heart with Saima. I will see you next Thursday from 1 to 2. Thank you for being here. I am so sorry. You were calling and
I was. Are you still screaming?
I have. So, and because
But I was at the wrong door. I got confused today, and I was at the wrong, which is why I'm like, oh, the keys changed, the locks changed.
So I could see the messages come in,
Yes.
but I couldn't respond. Anyways, thank you all for being here.
Bye.